Growing up in rural Oklahoma and speaking only the Cherokee language until age 5, Wes Studi didn't exactly see Hollywood as the most obvious career path for himself. By the time he started working in movies, he was already in his 40s, but it didn't take him long to make an impact. Since breaking out in the 1990 film Dances with Wolves and then playing the fierce Huron warrior Magua in 1992's Last of the Mohicans, Studi has earned acclaim for his work in movies like Geronimo, An American Legend, Heat, The New World and Avatar, as well as TV projects such as Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee and Penny Dreadful. In director Scott Cooper's brutal new western Hostiles, which opens January 5 in the Bay Area, Studi plays Yellow Hawk, an ailing Cheyenne war chief who is reluctantly escorted to his tribal homeland to die by a bigoted army captain, Christian Bale. In an interview, Studi, who lives in Santa Fe, discusses the film, Native Americans working in Hollywood, the persistence of prejudice and his dream of playing a grumpy old man. Q, you've been in more than a few westerns over the years. What appealed to you about this script when you read it? A, I think the story has something to say beyond the violence, beyond the love story, beyond the normal western story. There was also something I hadn't done before, which was play a person who is slowly dying and knows that he is slowly dying. What is it like to be slowly dying, to know that you only have a certain amount of days before you? I really don't know. But at my age it's getting nearer the real thing of dying. And I always wonder about people who get to the point where they can truthfully say, I do not fear death. Q, your character speaks Cheyenne throughout the film. How big a challenge was that? A, I had used Cheyenne to a certain extent a number of years ago when I played Black Kettle, in the 2005 TNT miniseries Into the West, but not to this extent. It's a difficult language. I like to think I have a little edge on it because I'm willing to experiment with different sounds, and my tongue is capable of speaking Cherokee, which has a lot of sounds that are made differently. But as far as understanding goes, that part is difficult. It's phonetics, you're just making the sounds. Q, when you were growing up, it was the heyday of the Western, but Native American roles were frequently played by white actors, and the characters were often stereotypes. Did you see a place for yourself in that genre as a kid? A, there was one real Indian that we all recognized when I was a kid, and that was Jay Silverheels. We saw him on a weekly basis, as Tonto, on The Lone Ranger. One time I asked my dad, how does somebody get into the acting business? He was fairly dismissive. He told me, you have to be 6 feet tall and blonde-haired and blue-eyed to be in movies and on television. And at that point it was fairly true except for Jay Silverheels. And that was a source of pride for everyone. In the 70s, with movies like Little Big Man, westerns began to have a little different flavor, and I think casting people and filmmakers began to realize, hey, maybe we can get a little more authentic in terms of who we cast here. That kind of opened up the gates. Chief Dan George, Will Sampson and Jay Silverheels all kind of got the ball rolling.